This is KGW News at Sunrise.
One of our top headlines this morning, former Portland Mayor Bud Clark has died at the age of 90. Coming up here in just a minute, we'll remember the colorful political figure who left his mark on this city in so many ways.
Plus the latest in the pandemic as COVID hospitalizations in Oregon near record highs. Experts are coming up with new solutions for long-term care. We're going to take a look at the new temporary emergency health center that's up and running. And
with my shadow I have cast, then a long, lustrous 6 more weeks of winter.
You tell them, Phil. Got a few boos, though. At exactly 4:25 this morning, our time, Phil proclaimed 6 more weeks of winter. Rod is going to be talking about that prediction coming up a little bit later. But did you guys know that over the last 10 years, Phil has only been right about 40% of the time?
You say only, I think that's pretty good.
Really? Is that the standard you've set for yourself?
60% of the time, he's 100% wrong.
I thought you didn't like math, Nina. Why are you going with all those numbers?
I was good right there, though, right?
I'll just leave it at, the news people. That doesn't sound very good. As for other people going, 40%, that's amazing. All right. We have low clouds that are solid over the city this morning. We had some light rain last night, so things are wet. And maybe you find just a touch of some light rain or some mist in the air coming in this morning. We're at 40. We didn't cool down much because of the clouds. So at the bus stop, above freezing, 38, maybe 40 in your neighborhood. We have the ongoing chance of light showers, and if anything, we'll start to pick up more light shower activity, if you will, as we get rolling into the afternoon. But overall, it never really amounts to a whole lot. Temperature when the kids get out of school today, 44 degrees.
Thank you very much, Rod. And we begin this morning with a look back at a Portland icon. Former Mayor Bud Clark died yesterday. He was 90 years old.
Clark served 2 terms as Portland's mayor between 1985 and 1992. KGW's Catherine Cook shares this look at his legacy.
There he is. Tim?
He is the mayor now. Are you ready to accept victory and declare yourself the winner of the race?
Yes, I am, absolutely.
It was one of the greatest political upsets in Oregon history and the beginning of Bud Clark's Portland, a city he served as mayor from 1985 to 1992. Clark had no political background. He was the barkeep who biked to work. His ascension to mayor began as a challenge to beat the unchallenged incumbent, Frank Ivancy. Clark's former press secretary, Jack McGowan.
Bud slammed his fist down on the Christmas table dinner and said, "Damn it, if nobody's going to run, I'm going to run."
How are you doing, Bud?
Last May, in what would be his final interview with KGW, Clark recalled the moment he knew he'd won, a full week before the election.
There was a parade in St. John's. The former mayor was in the front of the parade, and I was in the back of the parade, and they weren't giving the very good greetings to the mayor in the front of the parade, and they were cheering me in the back, and that's when he first realized he was in trouble.
Would you welcome Bud Clark?
The win put Clark and Portland in the spotlight.
But as mayor, you've got to run a city. I mean, what?
Well,
what did you do?
I'm taking a course in public administration and from Portland State College.
You're taking a course now?
You darn right.
McGowan says Clark would make time for everyone, from the citizens he served to celebrities.
I remember that Pete Townsend from The Who came in and wanted to meet with Bud, and Bud just would scratch his head because after work, we'd all sit down on the floor in the mayor's office and have a beer, and Bud would take off his shoes and we would discuss city policy because we had a man who believed in himself, who unabashedly loved his city and wanted to make it better, and the ego was never there.
During Clark's time as mayor, the city built the Oregon Convention Center and extended the downtown transit mall. He helped the city recover from a recession.
He was the people's mayor.
Multnomah County Chair Deborah Kafori's mother, Gretchen Kafori, served on Portland City Council with Clark. She remembers him for the example he set.
He loved Portland so deeply, and Portland loved him because of his authenticity, because he was who he was, and he didn't feel the need to try to be anybody else.
Because only Clark would think to pose for this iconic photo. Expose yourself to art. Clark lived to be 90 years old before passing away February 1st. He once told KGW he thought he'd die before his dear wife Sigrid whom he lost 22 years ago.
I've been such a good guy in this life. I want to be reincarnated as a crow and just sit up there and bitch all the time, and caw, caw, caw. And she said, "Can I be Mrs. Crow?" And I said, "Sure, you can." So every time I see a crow, I'm throwing a kiss to her and thinking about her. Whoop, whoop, see, there's Sigrid.
Here's to a life well lived in the city he loved and served. In Southwest Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
If you want to see and hear more from that 2020 conversation we had with Bud Clark, we just saw a bit of it there in Catherine's piece. You can watch the entire interview on our website, kgw.com.
Turning now to the pandemic, and COVID hospitalizations in Oregon are nearing record highs. Right now, just over 1,100 patients are in the hospital with confirmed cases. That's just 60 fewer than the peak back in September. Health experts are hopeful that number is leveling off, but just yesterday, the OHA and Providence opened a new emergency health center to deal with the patient load. The temporary unit contains 48 beds and is set up in a previously empty floor of the hospital. It's for patients who don't need quite as intense of care.
These are lower acuity COVID patients, really making sure that we have the right patients in this area while we take care of all of these patients with the same resources and clinical staff and caring for them. Certainly the environment is different.
There are 8 patients right now in that health center.
The Oregon legislature started a new session yesterday. It's a short one. They have just about a month to figure out how to spend some $2 billion in tax money and federal support. Some of the biggest potential spending packages include $500 million for a rainy day fund, $400 million for affordable housing, and $200 million to expand high-speed internet. This session lasts just 35 days and happens every other year. Well, a crowd of people showed up at the Capitol yesterday to protest pandemic restrictions. Many carried signs criticizing vaccine and mask mandates. Some demanded to get inside the Capitol without a mask on, but state troopers at the doors stopped them. We are told for the most part, though, this protest was civil and it ended just before 5 o'clock last night.
Well, this week, schools in the Alsea School District are back in class in person for the first time since the district decided to make masks optional. Under a new policy, students and staff can choose whether or not they want to mask up. Superintendent Mark Thielman says he supports the ability to choose, but not everyone in the district is on board.
I'm disappointed. I feel like it's really unfair to put the kids in this position where some have to choose and some are not, depending on their family circumstances.
Some parents who did not want to go on camera did tell us that they're happy their kids can now choose, but the district has already received one fine for mask violations and several complaints. Thielman continues to say the district will fight any fine that comes their way. He's also running for Oregon governor as a Republican.
Well, a new rule that stopped the sale of flavored tobacco products in Washington County is now on hold. A petition with 10,000 signatures upended the ban, which was supposed to be enforced at the beginning of this year. Washington County commissioners voted 3-2 to ban those products in November to keep them away from kids. If the petition signatures are verified, voters would get to decide on the matter on the May ballot. All right, let's get back to your forecast with Rod Hill in the Weather Center, and you're watching that another storm coming in.
Yeah, I want to start off with the big picture because this will be one of the big national news stories today. This latest push of cold weather that's dropping down across the nation's midsection and eventually off to the East Coast. We have snow in Kansas City, St. Louis, up through Chicago right now. Winter storm warnings eventually tonight into tomorrow kick all the way down into North Texas, including Dallas, for some accumulating snow. All right, here we have clouds pouring into us. It was a low cloud deck last night that was good enough to produce some light showers, thickening clouds during the day. So I don't think here on the west side of the state, most of us will see any sun. It looks like just a gray day to me. And again, the ongoing chance of some light showers. Right now, currently, radar is pretty clean. You might find a little bit of mist that the radar is not picking up. That cloud deck that I just showed you thickens up going into the afternoon hours. So here we are at 11 o'clock. And that may, in fact, bring an increasing number of some light showers. But if you have a gauge, I don't think you'll even get a tenth of an inch today. Here's 7 p.m. tonight. Snow up in the Cascades down to about 3,000 feet. Not much snow last night, but temperatures have been cold, so it's still a snow/ice mess over the area highways over the high country. So be prepared for winter driving up that direction. All right, we're above freezing, well above because of the cloud deck. 39 in Woodland, 38 in King City. Westland, good morning, 39 for you. Salem's at 41, Eugene's 40. You get east of the mountains today, east of the Cascades, I should say, and it will be dry with partly to mostly sunny skies. 19 out in Baker City right now. You folks, even with sun, will stay below freezing. So a chilly day for you out east. All right, mid-40s today, and right now it's about 40. So temperature's not going to do much, right? In fact, this only shows Battleground 41 and Longview 42. We have these bits of rain chances through Friday. Now, tomorrow afternoon looks dry. Friday, a little bit more rain. And there's that dry weekend still expected on Saturday and Sunday. Dry weekend.
Dry weekend. Yeah. The mantra. Thank you, Rod. Still ahead this morning, keeping an eye on a popular Oregon attraction. What researchers discovered that's moving on one of the three sisters. Plus, scammers taking advantage of people seeking better protection from COVID. New data shows more than half of high-end masks may be fake. How to spot those counterfeits right after the break.